You know, it's kind of difficult when you come into a situation like this and you hear the kids talk the way the kids talk and the class that they showed and the character that they showed. To follow something up like that, we know what we do, we know why we do it, we know who we serve, and all those things are so very important. But we need to talk about us. We need to talk about how we are doing. We need to talk about character within coaching. We need to talk about the examples that we are showing on a daily basis. And it's kind of challenging to stand here. I mean, I'm a coach. I coach my whole life. And to look out here and talk to a group and not be taken as judgmental or not be taken as controversial or not to be misunderstood. So I guess what I want to tell you is I think Scott asked me to do this because I'm old and I've seen a lot and I've watched a lot and I've coached at a lot of different levels. And I've seen athletics grow over the past 40 years as a coach. And what's acceptable and what is not acceptable and how you affect lives nowadays. And in preparing for this, my group knows that I do everything off index cards. And when I'm done, I'm done. And I realized while I'm listening to these kids talk, that the index cards are done too. I'm just going to talk to you from my heart for a second, and I'm going to challenge you in a couple situations because I think we need to be challenged on a daily basis. I shared with my staff yesterday from Romans 12, verse 3, and paraphrasing it, do not think more of yourself than you should. And I think as coaches, when we start talking about integrity and we start talking about character, that we need to make sure that we think of ourselves the way that we should and remember who we serve, why we serve, and what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is not about us. It's not about what we do. It's not about how many games we win. It's about who we serve, and we serve our student athletes. And the challenge is in integrity. As integrity shows itself, it shows your true character in a time of pressure. And integrity isn't something that we flip a switch and we say, okay, when things are going good, when games are going well, when my talk in the office with my kids are going good, I can be a outstanding young man or young, old, whatever we are, man or woman of honor, and I can do that. That's not the issue. The issue is what happens when we're in the midst of a battle. When we and you, right now, a lot of you, devote your life to working hard, preparing kids for contest, and then watching something fall apart. Something that falls apart that you've worked on every single day. And you've gone over and over, what do you need to do? How do you need to do it? Why do you need to do it? Do you get it? Yes, coach, I get it. And you get in a game and they forget it. What do? How do we handle that? I watch a lot. I watch practices. I watch games all around the conference. And I encourage and want to challenge all of us to be on guard of our integrity. Like I said, I'm an old coach. Now I'm an athletic director. And the one thing that my wife told me when I got to be an athletic director is, Gary, you understand you cannot be thrown out of any games. And that would look really good. Well, last year was relatively close. I'm not sure it was me, but Casey, our volleyball game day supervisor, had to come over and say, would you watch that guy right there? And that was me. And it kind of brings to light that we need to be careful with what we say and do. you know, sometimes when you get in this situation, you cannot be politically correct. So let's just stop right now and say, we need to fix our language, gang. We need to fix it. You know, and we can't police if we don't do it ourselves. I remember when my son, and he told me I can never talk about him, but I talk about him anyway, when he was 4 years old, and the first S-bomb he dropped in the house. I was upstairs. I could not get out of the house fast enough before my wife got a hold of me. She knew where he got it. He got it from me. And I knew where he got it. And the difference nowadays, you know, I'll tell you, I was an old-time coach, old school coach. The only difference nowadays is you got media on your rear end all the time. You watch a professional game and you read the lips, you see what's going on. So do our kids. So do our kids watch this. And they watch your efforts and what you say and what you do. And are we teaching them the things that we want to teach them when they're in a crisis, when they're in a pressure situation? Are we teaching them to handle that situation with integrity, with self-control, with proper words, or do we lose that emotional control and do we go over the edge? Please understand, and I know, I mean, I listen and I watch, and I'm not pointing a finger at you. I'm the same way. I'm the same exact way. And it's just not language either. It's how we treat officials. Do we treat them with dignity, or do we treat them with disrespect? Well, Gary, you know how our officials are. Well, I'm sorry. You know, they're the same for both, supposedly. But that doesn't make any difference. The difference is, are we treating people with love and dignity that we're shown by our Savior in the NAI? Are we doing that, or are we not doing that? And what are we teaching our kids? If we go after, you know, I've watched in situations crowds get excited or incited by the coach. The coach goes off the deep end. And understand, Sterling is by no means perfect. We had a couple ejections last year, and by the grace of God, we didn't have 5 or 6 more. So we're in the same boat. You know, we talk about it a lot. And I challenge you to make that choice. The kids will know the difference. They will understand and they know. Last year I was walking back behind the baseball fence, which is 10 foot high. And I heard a couple of our baseball players talking just randomly. And a couple of things were said that shouldn't have been said. And I just said, "It's Gary." And the guy came out from behind the fence to apologize. They know. They know what's right and wrong. And if they know what's right and wrong, so do we. I've watched and I've talked to a lot of different groups through the years. I read body language really well. I know when I've offended people. I know when people go, "You don't get it, you don't understand." Oh, yes, I do. I've coached longer than anybody in the room, I think. But, you know, we've got to take a stand. We can't sit here and listen to these kids talk about live 5 alive and then go off the deep end where we're in a football game and the entire stadium can hear the tirade of a coach. The entire gym can hear the tirade of a coach. We can't do that. We can't do that because we're not showing our kids the example that we need to show them. When a pressure situation, you do the same thing. You are right. You are right. I told our group yesterday, I think I'm the only Division I swimming and diving coach ever ejected from a game. And it was the right thing. And I was wrong. But you know, on that curve that Kristen showed earlier, in my situation, the longer I stay in athletics, the more I realize that what's right is right and what's 95% wrong, or what's 95% right is still wrong. So my challenge to everybody here today is, are we just going to walk and are we going to tolerate? Are we going to turn our back a little bit and think maybe this is going to go away? When we hear a problem or we hear an issue that we should confront, will we confront that and will we do it the right way? Or will we not be courageous enough to do it right? I want us to be courageous leaders. I want us to remember who we serve. And I want to challenge you. You can make a choice. You can make a choice. What you say, how you say it, how you treat your kids, and how you act in the proper situation. 90% of the time, we all do a good job. We are forever remembered by the 10% of the time that we don't. And your kids can come to you and they can come back in reunions and they can sit with you and they can joke and they can laugh and they can do all that. My question is, when they are alone by themselves and they think back of their experience with you in college at that moment, what impact did you have on their life? How will they remember you at that time? That's how you serve them. So I pray that we have a little change in direction, that we handle things with class, dignity, respect, and honor the way that we should, and you will continue to be fantastic coaches, fantastic mentors, and take these kids to the next preparation step of their life. Okay? Thank you.